Hello students, welcome to my class in critical reasoning. Today I will be discussing the third type of CR questions, weakening the argument. Since this is a theory class, the duration of the video may be slightly longer than my other videos. You may watch the video at 1.5 times the speed. To make the best use of the session, I suggest you do two things. Number one, go through my theory sessions on critical reasoning. The link to the session is given on the description below. Number two, create a free sign-up account on our website and try the exercises before you go through the video. The process to sign up for the free account is given in the link below. Now that you would have done both the things, let's start the session. Hello students, welcome to my second class on weakening the argument. Let's start with the assignment. All right, so my favorite line, pause, solve, and then play. Seriously weakens the argument. So first of all, we need to understand what the argument is. I love this question. Okay, the question type basically. So these are the various elements. You studied certain relationships, marital relationship. They had different sleeping and waking cycle. They shared fewer activities and they had violent arguments, and this would jeopardize a marriage. So this is what the chain of event is. So these are observations and this is the conclusion, right? What is the task? Doesn't jeopardize a marriage, right? So basically this is a cause and effect kind of a relationship. When such a logical structure is there and they ask you to weaken the argument, you can weaken this in three ways. Cause hua but effect nahi hua. So for example, if this says that Delhi government has launched that odd even wala rule, because of which the pollution will go down, and if they ask you to weaken it, one way to weaken it is you will say that देखो Mexico में भी same rule हुआ था, which means वहाँ पे भी odd even हुआ था, but pollution कम नहीं हुआ. So cause happened, but effect did not happen. So this is one way in which you can counter an argument like this. The second way in which you can counter the argument is that effect happened without the cause. In class 1 we did that, वो budget deficit वाला. तो effect बिना इस cause के हुआ है, यानी कि there could be some other cause. The most strongest counter is, guys, the best counter is if you can prove that the direction of causation is ulta. You are saying this is cause and this is effect. If somehow you can prove that no, it is the other way around, this is the cause and this is the effect. Let me give you an example. The example is, let's say a kid is crying. It's a fact. And also the fact is that I slapped the kid. Okay? So two things, these two are facts. So if I were to ask you that what would be the direction of causation, which means what is the cause and what is effect, most of you will say that the child will say that because I slapped the child, therefore he is crying. So this would be the direction of causation. I slapped, therefore the kid is crying. But it could be other way around also, right? The fact, the relationship could be itna ro raha tha wo bachcha, he was crying so much that I slapped ki chup ho ja. So it could be the other way around. I slapped because the kid was crying, therefore I slapped him, right? So ये बहुत ही important logical mistake है जो काफी लोग करते हैं. It's a very important question, guys. Therefore, you know why? Because we observe things, so things would have happened. One thing would have happened, second would have also happened, but we don't invest our time in understanding what is the direction of causation, right? So convenience के हिसाब से हम बोलते हैं इसके वजह से ये हुआ होगा. But do we invest our energy to understand what is the cause and what is the effect? We don't, right? So in this question, the correct answer is that only. Look at the correct answer. The correct answer is people in unhappy marriages have been found to express hostility by adopting a different sleeping and waking cycle. So it is saying it's not because ये है, they have different sleeping and waking cycle, इसलिए ये सब हो रहा है. Actually उल्टा है. ये बहुत झगड़ते हैं आपस में. इनको पता है हमारा बहुत झगड़ा होता है. Because of this, they share fewer activities. They don't go and play badminton. उन्हें पता है रैकेट एक दूसरे के सर पे मान लेंगे. And because of this, they have a different sleeping and waking cycle. So they have reversed the direction of causation. वो ये कह रहे हैं इसके वजह से ये नहीं होता है, उसके वजह से ये होता है. So your entire conclusion goes for a toss, right? Most people end up marking A. See, A also weakens the argument. A is saying married couples in which both spouses follow the same sleeping and waking patterns also occasionally have arguments that can jeopardize the couple's marriage. This is a typical example of saying that cigarette mat piyo. If you smoke cigarette, your lungs will get damaged. So someone will give me an example. Sir, Mahesh को देखो, उसने पूरी जिंदगी भर cigarette नहीं पिया, फिर भी उसका damage हो गया lungs. So therefore, cigarette is not to do with this. It weakens, ठीक है? But this one D is hitting the premise directly. D is saying your direction of causation is ulta. You are saying वो साथ में नहीं सोते इसलिए उनके झगड़ा होता है. Reality is something else. उनके झगड़े होते हैं. That's why they don't sleep in let's say same time. So it is hitting the premise directly. Therefore, D is the correct answer. A also weakens the argument, but look at this most seriously. Okay, it's a lovely question. Question number 2. Again, pause, solve, play. Okay. So what is happening here? Safe seeds, their weight last year was heavy. It is given. It's a fact, right? The safest, this is given last year. And how many seeds did you the companies let's say bought of this type? Fewer in number. Why? Because if the seeds are heavier, your fuel cost will increase, and the objective was to minimize fuel cost. That's why they did not buy safe seeds, because those were heavier. Heavier means higher fuel cost. Now this year what has happened? Safe seeds, they were the best so far as the sales number are concerned. So मतलब ज़्यादा यही खरीदा. And what is the conclusion? So the conclusion is this year, therefore, to minimize fuel cost is not the objective. What is our task? Our task is to prove no, minimize fuel cost is still the objective. Now, what has happened in the entire case is we've not been told what is the weight of the seeds this year. Last year it was given ki heavy hai. This year also is it given ki it is heavy? Agar ye heavy hoga, if this is heavy, then to it makes sense, because last year it was heavy. You buy less of them because fuel cost was your objective. This year also it was heavier, but you're still buying them more, which means this is not your objective. This was clear. But this part is not given to us. This is a question mark. So what if, due to some reason, the weight of this has gone down? So weight has also gone down. Seats are also safer. So it makes sense to buy them, and my objective is still the same. And this is what the answer is. Sorry, this is where the answer is in number 2. Because of technological innovations, the safest airline seat on the market this year weighed less than most other airline seats on the market. Therefore, this is the correct answer. Okay? All right. Let's go to number 3. Most seriously weaken the argument above. Okay. So what is my argument? So wholesale price of cotton has gone down. Therefore, the retail price will also go down eventually. So what is my task? Retail price will not go down. This is what I have to prove. So how can I prove that? From here to here, if something happened because of which the cost increased, so the retail price will not increase. So I can rethink this one, right? So basically, अगर वही बोलते हैं कि sir crude oil तो इतना सस्ता हो गया, so petrol का price इतना ज़्यादा क्यों हो गया? I can say that okay, the crude oil has gone down the price, but the processing of oil, the process itself has become more expensive. So the answer here is from here to here, it would cost more now, and that answer is A. The answer is A. If you think some other choice makes more sense, put it in the description box. I'll give you an explanation there. Okay. 4th. Which of the following if true would most seriously weaken the manufacturer conclusion? Okay. So in this case, what is happening, guys? New model, it has more safety features. Old model, it has less safety features. But you are able to sell more of old model, which means the conclusion is safety is not primary consideration. So what is our task? Our task is to prove no, that safety is still the consideration, despite the fact that people are buying more of less safe thing. Again, let me give you an example. Let me give you a simple example. Let's say there is a teacher number A. So teacher A is your current teacher of critical reasoning. And now the coaching institute has hired a new teacher, which is brilliant, right? Critical reasoning, if you study with this, anybody who studies with this teacher get 100% in critical reasoning. And let's say critical reasoning is the most important component of exam. So with teacher A, you get around 70% accuracy. But if you study with teacher B, students, anybody gets 100%. Despite this, students prefer teacher A. Despite the fact that they will get more marks in CR, or they'll get more marks if they study with teacher B, they prefer to study with teacher A. This means for students, marks are not important. So what is my task? My task is to prove that marks are important for the students. Marks important है, teachers A के साथ 70% आएगा, teacher B के साथ 100% आएगा, फिर भी they are going for teachers A. Why would they do this? They would do this because of the choice. Because of the choice, one second. This one. Choice B. They don't know this fact. So the reality is teacher B is better than A, but students don't know that. Students को पता ही नहीं है बात. My students do not know this, that teacher B is better because of marketing या coaching student ने बताया नहीं. तो पता नहीं है, so I am not aware of teacher B. I know something of teacher A. That is why I am still buying. I am still studying with teacher A. So the answer is B. ठीक है? Okay. Let's go to question number 5. Which of the following, if true, would most seriously weaken the argument above? What is the argument? Space flights carrying astronauts must continue, which means I should keep on sending space flights which have astronauts. So what is my task? Do not send space flights that have astronauts. What is the premise? Robot satellites really relay important communication and identify weather patterns. Because the satellites can be repaired only in orbit, astronauts are needed to repair them. Without repairs, the satellites would eventually malfunction. So what is the reason? The correct answer is E. I read this for you. Repairing them more costly and less practical than sending new, improved satellites. This is satellites. Into orbit. So choice number E is saying the cost involved in sending, let's say, space flights with astronauts and repair the satellites is much more higher than sending new improved satellite. So अगर मेरा TV repair करने में ज़्यादा cost होगा versus getting a new TV, so I should buy a new TV, right? Would you repair your TV then? You will not. So therefore, E is the correct answer. Number 6. Which of the following, if true, would most severely weaken the argument presented above? What is the argument? A sufficient market for the train will not exist. Most of the students get this question right. Okay? Thus, a sufficient market for the train will not exist. And what do we have to prove? What is our task? There is sufficient market for train will exist. What is the premise? We have to hit the premise. The train would be a fixed linear system, and we live in a world that is spreading out in all directions, and in which consumer chose the free wheel system like this, which do not have fixed wheels. So the competition is free wheel system, therefore people would prefer that and not your rail. Look at the first one, not the first one. C. Planes are not a free wheel system. It is denying the fact. It is saying the fact itself is incorrect. So therefore, this is the best answer because it is hitting the premise. Let me give you an example for you to make it clear for you. Let's say if I say that last year, 50 students got into top national law school, those who studied with us. Therefore, if you want to get into top national law school, study with us. Study with us. Okay. So what is my conclusion? Therefore, study with us. What is my premise? top 50 students who studied with us got into top national law school. So if you were to weaken it, the best counter is, guys, if somehow you can prove the fact is incorrect. अगर आपने प्रूव कर दिया सर झूठ बोल रहे हो, आपके तो 0 बच्चे गए थे national law school में. So you weaken the argument, and this is the most strongest, right? Because my argument was dependent on a premise. You somehow have proved that the premise itself is incorrect. So the premise ही गलत है, सारा argument गलत हो जाएगा ना. This is an obvious strongest answer because this is an obvious way of countering an argument. Normally option choices में इतना obvious नहीं होगा because सब वही mark करेंगे, फिर वो logic पे काम करते हैं. Logically कैसे गलत करोगे इसको? If this is not given, 50 out of how many? So I might be teaching, let's say 5,000 students. So 50 out of 5,000 is 10%, which is a very slow number as compared to some other competition. Maybe उनका percentage ज़्यादा हो, ठीक है? But wherever if you have a choice, जो premise को directly काट रहा है, directly counter कर रहा है, that's the best answer. Number 7. Pause, solve, and then play. If companies start fitness program, the absentee rate will go down. Fitness program करा आपने, absentee rate will go down. So what will be the counter? Fitness program से absentee rate पे फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. This is what our task is. Now, most of the people, they end up marking this. Most of the students, A, which is incorrect. Employees who exercise working hours occasionally fall asleep for short periods of time after the exercise. So you are saying they are not productive. Productivity की बात conclusion में नहीं है. Conclusion में बोला है fitness program करोगे तो absent कम होंगे. आप present होके सो रहे हैं. That's not what the argument says. Argument is not saying the productivity will go up. Argument is saying absentee rate will go down. So A is not weakening that. The correct answer is B. Employees who are frequently absent are the least likely to cooperate or join this program. जिनके लिए ये program बनाया है वो ही join नहीं करेंगे. If that's a fact, even if I start this program, it won't work because people who would have benefited out of this, those who are meant to join this program, are not joining this program. So B is the best answer. Okay, last question of the day. If on the basis of the evidence above, it is argued that PRP contracts increase worker productivity, which of the following would most seriously weaken the argument? Which means PRP की वजह से नहीं हुआ है. एक बार पढ़ लो. Firms adopting PRP pay wages and levels. Okay, last year. Okay, so basically we have to, the task is the productivity did not increase because of PRP. So we have to attribute the increase in productivity to some other reason, not PRP, right? So what is the correct answer for that? The correct answer is this. Many firms in the metalworking industry have modernized production equipment in the last 5 years, and most of these introduced PRP contracts at the same time. So basically PRP की वजह से नहीं हुआ है. उनके पास they had modernized production equipment. So this is the main reason. Because PRP was introduced here. So maybe it happened because of this and not because of this. So the correct answer is D. All right. So guys, this is again one more important type of CR question. And this comes not only in logical reasoning. This comes in your English. This comes in your legal, which is how do you weaken a particular argument. So how do you go about? First of all, understand the argument. If you don't know how to do that, look at my theory class on critical reasoning. Once you understand the argument, give yourself the task. The task is to weaken, ulta. Uska ulta karna hai. So if it says increases productivity, the best counter for that is it will not increase productivity. There will be 4 choices. It's possible all of them are weakening, which would most strongly weaken the argument, which will use the premise to counter it. Okay. So with that, we end the class. If you like the class, please hit on the like button and subscribe to our channel. If you want our team to come up with content on some other section, other topics, which you think are important for the exam, put it in the description. If we think that is relevant for the exam, we'll definitely come up video on that topic as well. Thank you and all the best. We at Mentors Capital have curated the best test series for you. we can confidently claim that our test series is best in the market. So go and see it for yourself. Remember, coaching kahin se bhi. Test series from Mentors Capital.